السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأتم الحج والعمرة لله. صدق الله العظيم. My brothers and sisters, once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you for making the intention to go to Mecca and perform Umrah. This is a very important, sacred journey that you will be undertaking, inshallah. I know many of you probably have made Hajj and Umrah in the past, so it might not be a totally different experience for you, but for some of you, this might be the first ever trip that you are taking to the Holy Land, Mecca and Medina. So it's going to be a completely different experience for you, but I can assure you that this will be a journey, inshallah, that you will remember for the rest of your life, because Mecca and Medina, they're not normal lands. They're the land where our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born. This is where he was raised. This is where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam lived. This is where he gave da'wah, and this is where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, and he is buried there. And we know, the ajr, the reward of performing ibadat in Mecca and of course in Medina. We know the reward of one salah in Masjid al-Nabawi brings you the reward of 50,000 salah, and one salah in Masjid al-Haram brings you the reward of 100,000 salah. So this is a great opportunity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, Inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nas lalladhi bi Bakkata mubarakan wa hudan lil alamin. That first ever house built for the ibadah, for the worship of Allah, is in Bakka. Bakka is another name for Mecca, right? So it's in Mecca, and it is a Mubarak. It is a blessed house, right? And Mecca itself is a blessed land, right? When we say Mubarak, the word Mubarak means blessing. It means something that it increases, or something that remains as is. When you say Barakah means something that increases, right? To increase, or something that remains as is. Now, if you look at Mecca, is a blessed in both ways, right? If you offer one salah, you get the reward of 100,000 salah, right? That's one. The other thing is, there are certain ibadats you cannot do except while you are there, except in Mecca. You can't make tawaf elsewhere, somewhere else. You can't make hajj somewhere else. You can't make umrah somewhere else. You can only do it in that land. So it's a barakah, right? It's a barakah. And then again, Mecca is a mubarak in a sense that everything is found over there, right? All the basic necessities of life is found in Mecca. There is no shortage of food. There is no shortage of provision, right? Thousands and thousands of people go to Mecca, right? Every day, in and out. And nobody ever complains of shortage of anything. So Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made it a blessed place, a Mubarak place. So this is a great opportunity for us. We're going to be there inshallah in the next few days, and we will be spending approximately 4 or 5 days in Mecca, and then about 3-4 days in Medina. So 4 days in Medina. So let's try to make the most of our presence, and while we're there, let's engage ourselves in ibadah and do as much as we can so that we can come closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. So this is a trip of Umrah, of course. And Umrah, we can call it a minor Hajj, right? Umrah is like, it's a minor Hajj. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he made Umrah, and this is a great sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Some of the scholars actually have mentioned that Umrah is fard, right? You must do it. Like Hajj is fard, Umrah is also fard. But the majority of the ulama, the scholars, are of the opinion that Umrah is not fard. But Umrah is, of course, sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But we should try our best, at least once in our lifetime, to make the intention to go for Umrah and perform Umrah. This is something that we should be doing in our life. So this is a trip of Umrah. Now, Umrah consists of a number of things here, right? Number one is the niyyah, right? Umrah is ibadah. And for every ibadah, you have to have the niyyah. Just like salat. When you're praying salat, you have to have the niyyah. Obviously, you don't have to make a verbal niyyah, but niyyah has to be in your heart, right? Otherwise, your salah will not be accepted. So in the same way, Umrah is a ibadah, right? So even if you don't make verbal niyyah, but you have to have the niyyah in your heart that you are going to perform Umrah. You're putting on ihram with the intention of Umrah. So that should be your niyyah. So niyyah of Umrah is a must. Ihram is also a must, right? Tawaf of Al-Kaaba. Tawaf consists of 7 rounds, right? Nafal at Maqam Ibrahim. After performing Tawaf, right, you have to perform 2 rakat of Nafal, if possible, at Maqam Ibrahim, or if it's not possible, then you have to perform somewhere within the masjid. And of course, after that, there is Sa'i, right, 7 rounds, right, Safa and Marwa, and then shaving the head or trimming your head. So this is basically Umrah in a nutshell, right? Now, after making the niyyah, what do you do? You put on your ihram, right? Ihram is both for men and for women, right? But for men, obviously, we put on 2 garments. We have 2 garments. One to cover lower part of our body, and one to cover the upper part of our body. And for women, ihram is the normal clothing, right? Preferably white. So if you can, dress in white clothing, that is preferable, right? So as you can see in picture number 1, first cloth, right, to cover the lower part, right? And obviously, because it's an open clothing sheet, it may fall off. So if you put on a belt, right, to make it tight and to keep the ihram on, then that is also permissible. You can show it, inshallah. Brother Shabazz is going to just demonstrate how to put on the lower part of the ihram.
That's the best way you can put inside there. So one, if you roll it, will be full.
Yeah, so as you can see, you just go around and then tighten it. And you can put on the belt if you want as well to make it further tight. And then one part goes on top. If you're not doing tawaf, right, and then this is how you will walk around with the top sheet, right? Fully covered. But if you are doing tawaf, obviously you will make istiba, and you will keep your right shoulder exposed. Okay? So this is how it's going to be. It's called istiba. And this is only for the men. For women, they will keep the entire body covered except their face, their hands, and their feet. Okay?
No undergarments. No undergarments. No undergarments. Any banana, any undergarments. No t-shirts.
No. There's nothing underneath as well. That's it.
What about boxers?
No.
Nothing.
You can't wear anything sewn, right? Nothing. No. It won't. No. If you put on your belt, then it will keep it tight.
You can walk.
It won't fall off.
There's enough space.
Okay.
So once you tighten like this, you let it fall down.
Keep your legs wide open and then tight it, so it'll be comfortable, once you start walking. Okay? So this is, as you can see on the slide here, the picture number 1, and then picture number 2 with the belt, and then you cover the belt as well, so you can hide the belt in picture number 3, and then picture number 4, he's putting on the top portion of ihram, and see how is it being wrapped in picture number 6. So you keep your right shoulder exposed, and this is called istiba, and you do that while making tawaf only, right? While making tawaf. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, because that's not part of clothing, right? So you can put on a pouch, right? Belt, that's fine, because that's not part of the clothing. And number 7, that's how you're going to walk around when you're in ihram and you're not making tawaf. Okay? And then the last picture, you see, only flip-flop type of sandals should be worn, right? So you can't wear shoes, or you can't wear a sandal that can cover the upper part of your feet, upper bone, this bone. If it covers the bone, right, then you cannot wear that. No, this is not acceptable, right? So the flip-flop, no, not only during the tawaf. Obviously during tawaf you're not going to be wearing slippers, right? But as soon as you put on your ihram, right, you have to take off your shoes. You can't wear slippers like that. You just wear flip-flop sandals. You have to make sure that the upper part of your feet remain exposed, right? So this is for the men. For women,
So those type.
yeah.
Are there also one with the rubber on the top? You can't
No.
have that. Right?
No. As you can see, right? You wear one of those. Pardon?
Now you can see in the picture. That's a lot.
The simple one.
Yeah. But this is you should have one of these. They call it Chinese slippers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So one of those. Yeah. Okay. So this is very important. Okay. That was for women. For men. This is for women. So women wear regular clothing with hijab, right? They will be in their regular clothing. They must keep open their face, palms of hands, from wrist to fingertips, right? So while in ihram, they have to keep their face uncovered. If they cover their face, that's wrong. They will have to pay the penalty. They will have to pay the dam, right? So they make sure that the face remain exposed, right? And also the hands should also remain exposed, and the feet, of course, right? This is when they're making tawaf. But of course, when you can wear shoes, you can wear covered slippers. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Women can wear any type of shoes or socks. Leather socks are recommended. Okay, so you can understand. Do you have any questions?
What about the guys? Can we have socks?
No,
Leather socks?
no, nothing. Because you're covering your feet. So the thing is that in ihram, you cannot cover your feet. Okay? The upper bone of your feet, that should remain exposed. So, actually I had my own presentation with a little detail, but somehow I had a shortcut file on it, so I couldn't open it. So I'm just going over this. Anyway, so when you put on your ihram, right? Before you put on your ihram, you remove unwanted hair, trim your mustache, clip your nails, and get prepared for that. Okay? So this is for men and women, right? So like and these are the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of course. So we take care of them before we put on our ihram. Make full ghusl, or at least make wudu. Now, in our case, obviously, we're flying with Saudi Airlines, right? So before you leave, your place of residence, make sure you make a ghusl with the intention of Umrah. You don't make the intention of Umrah, but you're making ghusl for the ihram, for Umrah. Okay, so that should be your intention. And then obviously, we're not going to put on our ihram here at Pearson Airport, but we must carry it in our handbag, right? In our hand luggage, right? Women can just put on their normal clothing, it will be easy for them, right? Make a ghusl and put on your ihram. But for men, we make a ghusl and we don't put on our ihram, we'll carry it in our hand luggage. And then, inshallah, once we're in the plane, and before we reach the miqat, right, approximately half an hour before we land at least, or 45 minutes before we land, the miqat comes, right, and we have to be in the state of ihram, right? So I would recommend that, we put on our ihram in the plane, right, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours before we land, right, and it is then that we make the intention of Umrah, right? So we make the ghusl before we leave, and then before we put on our ihram in the plane, we can make wudu, right? And we can put on our ihram. So make full ghusl, or at least make wudu. Before reaching the miqat, put on the ihram. And when you put on your ihram, you have to perform 2 rakat of salat. This is salatul ihram, right? And avoid makruh times. Obviously, there are certain times during the day that you should not be performing nafil salat. It's like if it's after fajr, after you perform salatul fajr, you cannot perform any nafil or sunnah until sunrise, right? After you have performed salatul asr, you cannot perform any nafil or sunnah until sunset. So you should avoid performing 2 rakat of Salatul Ihram during those times. Okay? So you put on your Ihram, you perform 2 rakat with the intention of Ihram. Right? And in that 2 rakat, it's sunnah to recite قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ in the first rakat, قُلْ أَعُوذُ قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ in the second rakat, after Suratul Fatiha. And then obviously, once you do that, you make the niyyah for Umrah. And what's the niyyah for Umrah? Allahumma inni uridu al-umrata fayassirha li wa taqabbalha minni. Oh Allah, I intend to perform Umrah, make it easy for me, and accept this Umrah from me. So that's our intention. And you should remember that once you make the intention, you become muhrim, you come in the state of ihram. So just making ghusl and putting on your ihram, performing 2 rak'ah of ihram doesn't make you muhrim. Now you're not muhrim. You become muhrim as soon as you make the intention. So things that are not permissible while in ihram, right, kicks in as soon as you make the intention. Right? So this is very, very important. You have to understand, you have to remember that, yes.
When we do that
Where? Okay. For sisters, you will have a choice, right? Either because at home you make ghusl, right? You put on your ihram. If you want, you can perform 2 rakat at home as well. 2 rakat for ihram, right? Because you don't become muhrim, you don't come in the state of ihram until you make the niyyah. So just before miqat, right, you can be seated in your seat and you can make the niyyah. And once you make the niyyah, you become muhrim, right? You come in the state of ihram. But obviously for men, they will make a ghusl at home, they will carry the ihram with them, and in the plane, right? Once they make the announcement that we are approaching miqat, we'll put on our ihram, and then we make the niyyah and we become muhrim, right? So it'll be a lot easier for the sisters and a little bit difficult for the brothers. So we have to understand that with the niyyah we become muhrim, okay?
Can we pray on our seat? I mean, it would be very difficult on the plane.
Yeah, Saudi Airlines, you have a little bit of room to put on your ihram and also to perform, salah. The space of maybe 4 or 5 people can pray together as well. Okay? So I would recommend that you pray standing, right, whenever it's possible. Okay? Is that clear? Everybody are we clear on that? Inshallah. So the intention is Allahumma inni uridu al-umrata fayassirha li wa taqabbalha minni. And then as soon as you make the intention, you can recite talbiyah. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. And this is the talbiyah. Of course, the talbiyah should be continued until you start your tawaf. Right? So talbiyah should be continued until you start your tawaf. And more you recite talbiyah, the better it is, more rewardable it is. Okay? So this is basically ihram. So before you put on your ihram, you remove unwanted hair, trim your mustache, clip your nails, right? And then you make a ghusl, and then you put on your ihram at miqat or before miqat.
Itar perfume we can do it
Yes,
before that.
of course.
Before that.
When you put on your ihram, you can use a itar, right? You can put on perfume, right? And then once you come into ihram, these things will become haram for you. What becomes haram for you in the state of ihram? There are a number of things. Do you have it on the slide here? No?
वो चीज़ें हैं जो मना है हराम में इसमें.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
On the body, that's what I read in the on the website, that you cannot put attar on the ihram. You can put on your body like
If you want to reuse it, when you want to reuse
I never read anywhere like that. I don't know. Wallahu alam. I never read it. But the thing is that you can put on. It's a sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to put on itar, right?
on the body.
Whatever. I can look into that, inshallah. But it's a sunnah to put on itar for ihram, right? And then once you get into ihram, then itar becomes it's haram to use that, right? Prior to it,
I
yes.
have a question. So when we made niyyah, put the haram, at that time I should put attar?
You put on ihram, then you before niyyah, because once you make the niyyah,
Can do it.
you can't do it. Now you're muhrim. Now you're muhrim in the state of ihram. So in the state of ihram, there are many things that are not permissible. Number one is applying itar or anything that has some sweet smell. It's not permissible. Clipping your nails, trimming your hair, right? Covering your head, right? For sister, covering the face, right? These things are haram, right? They're not permissible. And if you do that for a long period of time, then even dam becomes wajib on you. You have to pay the penalty as well, right? If you do it by mistake for a little while, then you give a little bit of sadaqah, right? But if it's done for a long period of time, right, then you have to pay the dam, the fee, the penalty for that. So we have to be very careful with that. Okay?
Who is the penalty by accidentally put the kufi on for like whole salah between Asr and Maghrib?
Yeah, give a little bit of sadaqah.
Forgot.
A little bit of sadaqah, 5 riyal, 10 riyal or whatever, give sadaqah. Right? Understand? Okay.
They should take care of the washing hands with soap too.
Yes, of course. And also, when you're in the state of ihram, right, you make sure that, when you make wudu, don't use scented soap, right? You don't use scented soap when you're taking shower, when you're making ghusl. You cannot use, a shampoo that has, smell in it, sweet smell in it, or a soap or whatever. These things are forbidden, right? And in ihram, you should remember, when you're in ihram, you can change into another ihram. That's fine. You can also make ghusl. A lot of the times people question that in ihram, can we change into another ihram? Yes, you can. Can we make ghusl? Yes, you can. You can make wudu, you can make ghusl. That doesn't break your ihram. Even if you take off your ihram completely, right? Then that doesn't break your wudu as well. That doesn't break your ihram as well. That's fine. Right? You change into another one. Okay?
And when instead of ihram, can you use another ihram that is already scented?
No.
After intention.
After intention, no.
What happens is we have two ihrams, so I scented them right now ahead of time.
Why would you send it? You don't need to send.
You said before intention you can put after, so you put after.
No. Yeah. On the body, just put it on the body, right?
Yeah.
And then you put on your ihram, and then after ihram you make the niyyah, and then that's it. Nothing else.
But
No.
I'm going to use the same ihram because it's already scented.
Doesn't matter. If you use it, that's okay, that's fine. But after that, you don't apply it. Right? Whatever is on it, that's fine.
So now when you go to washroom in haram, you have to wash. We have to have soap. You can't go just.
No, you can't use a scented soap.
But what type of soap they have in there? Because we don't have choice.
No, you don't use soap. Or you can use unscented soap. You can buy it from there. They sell it over there.
Oh, I'm fine with that. But here in Asar, and you want to do tawaf, and then you just go to washroom to do wudu. And in their washroom, what type of soap? They have liquid soap there or no?
They probably have a scented soap. Yeah. Because you have to understand, not everybody is in the state of ihram,
We
right?
have to take our own.
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
that.
Of course. Okay? But you don't use a scented soap or, yeah. Okay. So once you're in the state of ihram, right, you recite talbiyah as much as you can. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka, labbaik innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. And this talbiyah should continue, right, until you perform, you begin your tawaf. So as soon as you begin your tawaf, then talbiyah should discontinue. No more talbiyah now, right? So you concentrate on your tawaf. Now, tawaf consists of 7 rounds. And you begin your tawaf at Hajarul Aswad. The corner in the corner where Hajarul Aswad is placed, this is where you begin your tawaf, right? So you face Hajarul Aswad and you make istilam of Hajarul Aswad. How do you make istilam? Right? Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Right? That's istilam. Right? You kiss, if you can, if you have the opportunity to go close and kiss Hajarul Aswad, then that's better. But obviously there's going to be so much rush. You will not be able to get closer to Hajarul Aswad. So you stay far, in line with Hajarul Aswad, you make istilam, just istilam, and then you move on. Right? And you move anti-clockwise. Right? So if this is Hajarul Aswad, if that's the corner, istilam, and then you move on. Okay? So when you make one round, when you come to the second round, again you stop, you make istilam, and you make second round. So in that way, you're gonna make 7 istilam, right? You're gonna make 7 rounds, right? And while making tawaf, right? While making tawaf, you can recite the Quran, right? You can be engaged in any adhkar, right? You can be engaged in making dua. You can make dua that you have memorized, that you know by heart, right? You can keep repeating it again and again. And also, as I said, you can recite the Quran, Surah Yasin, Surah Mulk, or any portion of the Quran, or